Hey.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Erica. You are on mute.
Can y'all hear?
Yes.
Good. I'm letting people in. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us this morning, y'all. Rebecca, if you want to make me co-host, I can watch the participants and let people in.
That would be amazing. How do I do that again? Oh, hold on. I think
Right click up at the top of my name.
it says change host, so it just.
You're good then. Just leave it for now.
Okay. Well, I might let you help, like, lead the questions if you want. You're so good at it.
Well, let's get started either way. So everyone on here, we're going to have people jumping in as we go. I'm sure people grabbing coffee, wrapping stuff up this morning and coming in. So those of you who are on the call, feel free to jump in and ask your own questions or use the chat box. We've got Erika joining us this morning and we're excited to have her. So Erika, I'm going to have you just start us off and tell us a little bit about you kind of personally, professionally, just to start us off, and then we'll jump into some questions.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. A little bit about myself. I've been in real estate 4 years now this month. Well, not today, this month.
Nice.
And so I am originally from Northport, Alabama. I say Tuscaloosa because it's like a small town, so roll tide. I graduated from the University of Alabama. I'm very proud to be a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I love my sorority. And my husband and I also have a investment business together. So I invest in real estate as well. So I'm an investor, I'm an aunt, I'm a sister, hopefully a good one, I think so. My nieces would say so. And so that's just a little bit about me.
That's awesome. So 4 years you've been in real estate. How did you get started in real estate? What made you interested in this industry?
So I got into real estate by chance, actually. It was not intentional. On my vision board, I want to say maybe 2014, I had Luster Properties on my vision board, and I thought that was going to be just the investment business. So I bought my first house when I was 25, 26. And I bought my second house when I was 27. And so I was wanting to flip homes. And so I was moving really quickly. My father-in-law now, not at the time, boyfriend's dad at the time, he had lots of properties. So he taught me how to look at properties from an investment standpoint. And so I wanted to find something. Agents were not taking me seriously. I was the buyer that pulled up in front of the house, called the number on the sign with my letter in the car with me because I thought you had to have your paperwork and everything ready. And I'm like, hey, I need to go inside. I did all my research. I just needed to make sure and confirm it looked the same. And they go, yeah, I can get out there maybe in 2 weeks or next week or no. So I did not know what a D was at that time. And so type A, D personality was not going to have that. So I went to get my real estate license thinking I could unlock the doors myself. And that was the whole reason I got into real estate, was to open the door. And it turned into much more than that. I realized that was what I was supposed to be doing. I really, truly believed that real estate was my calling and my ministry to touch people.
Yeah. How long did it take you to realize that it was your calling after you got into it?
Immediately when I was getting my license.
Okay.
Getting my license and they were explaining, I said, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I had another job at the time. I was a territory sales manager. Hated it, didn't know what else I would be doing. I knew that I wasn't attached to that emotionally. And so as we were talking through, I said, okay, maybe I could do both, transition out. I immediately realized I could not do that. I'm also like, I'm a squirrel. Oh, look at that, look at that. And so I have to focus on one thing at a time. And so I just developed a plan to exit out of that job. That took me a year to completely get out of that job. And I set the timer is immediately after I gave my notice.
All right. And what did your, so you came in as a solo agent, right? You were never on a team. You've always been doing your own thing.
Yeah, so I came in as a solo agent, and it's really funny because I did have an agent that I know and I respect reach out to me and said, "Hey, I don't know, but I wanted to check with you to see if you would be interested in being on my team." And she said these great things, and I said, with so much respect. And at that point, I had not done a transaction yet. I did not know what this thing was going to be other than my dreams. And she, I told her I would hate to learn from you, knowing that I have no intentions on staying and I intend to build my own team. And she goes, "Yes, you know what? That makes sense. I forgot you're a Beyonce too." Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't want that to sound, bad, but I wanted to be honest about that. I didn't want to take from her and her team and then dip out.
Yeah. Well, I think that's high integrity too. You knew that may not be for you, and you approached that right up front. A lot of people come into this and think they have to join a team to be successful and to learn the business. Some want to, some don't, but you said right up front, you were honest. So that's awesome. Becca, I saw you unmute. Did you have a question you wanted to throw in?
No, I was just gonna comment about the Beyonce thing. I was like, heck yes, girl.
Own it. Awesome. Okay. So you started solo. How many homes did you sell in your very first year?
My very first year, this is the funny part. I think I have to go back with my journey. So my first year in real estate, I moved to North Carolina. I'll back up, and I knew no one.
Okay.
And I knew the team leader after a 3-hour conversation we had when my husband and I visited, and I knew my husband, and that was about it. And so I started from zero scratch, and that was the scariest thing that I did. But I am the type of person that I'll shed a tear, I'll wipe it and keep going. It doesn't freeze me. It doesn't stop me. I'll be afraid and I'll push through that. And so it was a lot of fear there, knowing no one, knowing that this role was solely about knowing people, literally.
Yeah.
And so I started there, and it took me 8 months of consistently doing the activities for my first transaction, then my second transaction, then my third transaction. So my first year, from that March to December, was 3 transactions, and then it never stopped from there.
So what did lead generation look like for you? You're in a brand new area, nobody, 3 deals in your first 8 months. What does lead generation look like in the beginning? What were you doing to find people?
Yeah, so in the beginning, everything, all the things that there were, because I started in March. I took bold in April.
Okay.
So it was immediately. I just said, if I'm going to do this, give this a chance. I told you my clock started at that point. I need to be all in to say I did this, because I told God, I said, either I'm going back to vet school or I'm doing real estate. And if this doesn't work out, then I understand what you're saying. I think you're saying real estate, but if not, turn me around, because that usually is how it works. And so I went to Bold, and then Bold came around again in that fall. I went again, mind you, no money yet. All of the time, I didn't have to pay for it. Things came up that helped me and allowed me to go, and people sewed into me and believed in me until I was able to do it myself. And so after those 3 transactions, family reunion comes around in February, I go there. And then Bold comes around, I go again. And then Bold comes around, I go again. And so now I'm 7 times Bold, and Bold and family reunion since I've started, and all of that, just taking in everything that I could, learning everything I could as quickly as I could, is how I started.
Yeah.
And that's not the best thing to do, is all the things. But what is important from that is figuring out what is your thing, get in your groove, and work that.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else did the math while Erika was talking about how many Bolds and family reunion and all that she did in her first, 6 to 12 months. That's well over $4,000, and you had not even necessarily made a sale yet. What made you invest that kind of money into yourself upfront as a new agent?
Because I don't believe in giving up unless you have exhausted all of your options. I don't like to say I don't like excuses because I'm full of them when it comes to like going to the gym and things like that. After you getting it on the getting it on the thing. So I have the excuses, but I don't like to feel like a victim of, you know what, I don't know anybody. I knew it wouldn't work. It's not going to work. I'm going to do everything that there was to do. And if it didn't, then it just wasn't for me. But I did try.
Yeah.
So that was super important for me. And I made my intentions known around my office. I told people I don't believe closed mouths get fed. And so if there was an agent that would, from the number one agent in my office, I can't talk to that person. I would knock on the door. They're not there. I left sticky notes around agents' offices because I'm, of course, in the little cubbies at the time, squatting until I could get my own office. And so I just wanted to soak up everything that there was to soak up before I said that it wasn't for me.
Yeah. So you were hungry and you hustled. You did what you had to do.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from that.
When people see that, and when you tell people your goals and your dreams, then they will help you. And so reach out. Don't think that, it can't happen because you're not the person that does it. People are put in your path to bless you. And so I was seeking out those people.
Yeah. So you took Bold, you went to family reunion, you're learning how to lead generate. Where did you get those leads? Was it cold calling? Was it door knocking? What were you doing in the beginning to build your business?
Yeah, so you as a new agent, you're told open houses because that's where you build your database. So I started with open houses a lot just to get names because I didn't have names of people and I didn't know how to get names of people. I did a little bit of door knocking. That was not my thing. I think it was not my thing when I knocked on a door. I had like something cheesy, like a sucker or something with a little note. And the guy's like, "We don't eat sugar." And he slammed the door in my face. So I'm like, not gonna do that again. I knocked a couple more doors after that. I did some circle prospecting calls, but in Bold, what they did say was just talk to as many people as you could. And so I used what I had, and I went to the gym and I talked to people. Nothing happened every day for 8 months. That's the key part there, is that nothing happened every day for 8 months. I was tired. I worked all day and nothing happened for 8 months. Stick with it, do the activities, and then it's like all of that stuff snowballed. So I did everything if you think of all the classes and they tell you cold call and then call agents and then do open houses, all these things that you can do. I did all those things and nothing happened for 8 months. And then all of a sudden, nothing stopped happening. I was like, whoa, because all the activities, people that I remember talking to in March started calling me back. Well, we're ready now. And then people I talked to in April, okay, we're ready now. And people I talked to had told someone else that was ready now. And so all of those things started coming together. And now my business is 85% referral, 85, 90% referral, and it's either sphere of influence or agent referrals. And so it's been awesome. I just run my mouth a lot, if you haven't been able to tell.
Yeah. Oh, we got chat box comments. So Ashley, and you guys are welcome if you are able to unmute and ask questions, whatever you want to do there. Ashley said, how did you cope with the fear of failing after going all in? It's easier to fail if you haven't gone all in and you can blame an excuse. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, so how do I cope with going all in?
With that, how did you cope with the fear of failing after going all in?
Yeah, so I never thought I would fail. That was the thing. I thought that I didn't know what was going to happen. I think that's where my fear stemmed from, is I don't know when it's going to happen. I like to have control of things, and I like to be able to plan and predict, and I couldn't plan or predict what was going to happen. If this didn't work out, I guess AKA fail, I was going to vet school. That was like a plan. I did not want it to not work out because I don't like to do anything that doesn't. But the times that I felt afraid, I just did it anyway. I prayed, and I know that's not everybody's thing, but whatever you do believe in, whether it's meditation or prayer, do that, get quiet, and then do it. Just go back at it. Don't give yourself time to soak in whatever that feeling is. And somewhere along the way, it says feelings are not facts. And, it's a fact of how you feel, but it doesn't mean that that's what is happening around you. So check that. Don't stay in it. Get someone else that can motivate you. I know people will sometimes align with people that will allow you to complain and allow you to be afraid or be doubtful. And they'll say, you know what? Yeah, me too. It's not working for me too. Get someone that's going to check that. It's like, okay, are you done? All right, so what are we going to do about it? What do we do now? And so align yourself with people that, speak light and life into you versus the people that allow you to sit in that feeling.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's super important because there are so many people who, especially new agents, right? You're all kind of maybe struggling a little bit together in the beginning, working to get that business, and everyone's kind of commiserating in the misery. And this is so hard. But find that person who's going to say, yeah, it's hard, it sucks, and keep going.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so what? Keep moving. So I love that, you have that encouragement and find the people who are going to push back on you and not let you just sit there in it.
Yeah, you had to cut some people off. I did.
Yeah.
People that I liked as people, it's like, okay, I can't talk to you about this anymore. So good.
Did you have any naysayers in your personal life? I've heard a lot of people say that friends and family were not super supportive of getting into this industry.
Yeah, so absolutely. My husband, not at all. I could, he is my number one fan, and now he does do cold calling, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, what? He's been doing this for a week, and then it works. So he's just really good at that. He loves people, and so he was always very supportive. My mom, I could tell her I'm going to the moon on a unicorn, and she's going to ask me what time. And so it was never that kind of thing. It was maybe family that in general maybe didn't think success, because people will also put their limits on you, what they can't see happening or what they don't feel that they could do, they'll feel like you can't do. I did have a family member say, I said, I'm going to invest in real estate. This was before I got into real estate, and I think I may become a real estate agent one day. And they go, no, you need to go back to school, get your master's. There's no money in real estate. There's money in real estate. And so I said, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I was asking you. I was telling you what my plan was. And then later, of course, they started asking me, so how can I invest in real estate?
Yeah.
That thing there's no money in. So you just have to brush it off and cut people off. It hurts sometimes, but cut them off until you get where you want to go. And then, if you want to add them back in, that's great, but don't let it hold you back.
Oh, awesome. All right, what questions do you guys have for Erika? I have a ton. We can keep going forever. So I want to know what you guys have. You saw that her name was up here, her picture was up here. What questions did you want to get answered coming into this? Unmute yourself if you can. Chat box if you can't. He's got something for her.
I do. Hey, good morning. I'm Soror too. I was happy to see that. Good. How are you? So after those 3 transactions, what did each year look like as far as the number of transactions?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the next year I was able to cap in 6 months. And then the next year I capped in 3 months. And then the next year it was less than that. And so once I had that 6 months, then I said, okay, game's on. Now I'm against myself. And I think that brings me to another point. Never be against anyone else. Don't compare yourself against a board or other agents. It's you against you. If I did 6 months, now I'm doing less than 6 months, not what everyone else was doing. But it got easier and easier because I found that groove, that thing that I was in, and I stuck with that. I no longer do open houses. I cut that after I realized I got 2 transactions from doing X amount of open houses. So I just stopped doing it. I started focusing on the things that were working.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy to go from 3 transactions to capping that quickly.
Yeah. It's the snowball, the compound effect, like it literally never stopped. And I thought it was pretty cool too. It shocked me.
It's consistency, right? You stayed consistent.
But it did.
Nice.
Yeah, that book is a good book. If somebody's never read it, The Compound Effect, like just that's a great book. But I just love, like, Erica, I love your energy. I love your just like mindset, because I think, I don't know, you kind of like remind me of me a little bit. Like, failure was just never an option. And I was like, whatever I have to do, same thing. Like, people are saying, like, there's no money in real estate. You just got your master's in accounting. Why would you do that? And like I just like that fueled my fire. I'm like, whatever it takes, I don't care if I have to knock doors, whatever. Like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. But what was it? I wanted to ask, how have you shifted your business during the pandemic? Because that's something, we're all dealing with, and it's not as easy to network as it was, and it's just different. So I was just curious how you've kind of shifted during COVID.
That's also a really good question. There was a lot of fear last year, and I don't blame anyone at all whatsoever, but it was a lot of the talk about the fear over and over and over. And I even had to cut off my MAPS coach because he told me I was delusional if I thought that X, Y, and Z, and I said, dude, okay, that tells me you don't know me. I don't care what it looks like. It was already destined for me to succeed, whatever that looks like. 2020 was my best year. I had 40 transactions and almost 12 million in volume, and we were in a pandemic. So it's shifting that is just not stopping and not letting, like, that those feelings were with me too. I was very confused, like, what are we going to do? But what I had to do was, I felt that feeling. If you're bold, you switch the bracelet. That I had to just keep switching the bracelet. All the thoughts that were coming, especially with people being afraid, and I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to go out because you're going to die and all of this. I said, no, I'm not going to die. I'm going to be well. My people are going to be well. And we're going to do this thing no matter what it looks like. Even when they say, oh, a market shift, you better get your business together. It's just different, because if we were in Arkansas, where I moved from, then the average price point is itty bitty. So then it just looks different. That's all. And so you shift according to what you have to do that. And if I already had these people in my database, you find the people that still need to make moves. And if anything, that was the best year, I think, because the people that weren't serious were sitting back and waiting, and everyone that needed to do something came to the forefront. So it wasn't a lot of driving around. If anything, it was better, because it's like, oh, can't show you the house unless you're ready to go today. And so it was, you do what you can do, and you keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't let the fear stop you.
Were there any big changes to your business during the pandemic, or it was just getting more intentional about working with those motivated people?
I don't think that there actually were any changes. It was just what we could do legally and what we couldn't.
Yeah.
And it literally just, everyone that was, wanted to maximize on the low interest rates, or needed to make a move for work or whatever, because we get a lot of out of state, clients coming in and people moving out of state for different reasons. And it just brought forward the people that were ready. So there weren't really any changes. I will be honest, I was not a fan of the Zoom, all the Zooming. Like, I've Zoomed out, not this, but
It's exhausting. It really is. Everyone felt it.
Yeah, I feed off of energy. And so the bold room was energy for me. If I felt like I was in a slump, like, oh, I'm just tired, or I don't feel like it, or whatever, it re-energized me to go. So that was the only thing, is keeping myself from burnout and keeping myself motivated when I didn't have that normal energy that I I was feeding from other places.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part.
We got 2 chat box questions. First is from Ashley again. What's next on the growth plan for you?
Yeah, so actually I've been failing forward with the executive assistant situation. And so that's been fun. I'm new at hiring, so I'm learning things, and I'm also learning to trust my gut. But right now I am looking for another executive assistant. I've actually had 2. They let me know that they were overwhelmed. And I said, that's interesting because I'm doing all of the things and someone's overwhelmed doing some of the things. And so that's been a learning curve for me. So that executive assistant, and as soon as I get that rock star that can keep up and that can really see the vision and push through and is motivated to grow in life and have a big life, then I'm going to get the transaction coordinator and the showing assistant. That would be awesome. So that's the next step. But right now I am utilizing a company to help me with the hiring now so that time isn't taken away.
So you're still doing all your own showings right now?
Yeah. Sounds like a lot.
I can't see the faces on here to see who was like, oh my gosh, because it's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
There's no other word other than crazy. But what I do choose to do is new agents in my office do want opportunities. So if there's somewhere I literally cannot be, because those things happen, then I do get new agents and I give them opportunities to make some money and to have the experience with clients too. But for the most part, it is just me.
Yeah. Awesome. Becca, you had a question. What was your question?
Yeah, so I was just curious, like, what is your ratio of buyers to sellers? Because, well, for one, that, and then also kind of how are you dealing with our current market that we're in and like, like adjusting right now because it's insanity. So,
Yeah. So the Hunger Games have been fun. I am very, very buyer heavy, and this is the reason why. My opportunity for growth is saying no, and I really want to help everyone that comes to me that says they want help. I'm very, very honest with people, but I also don't think that if someone says, my family says I can't do this, and then I attach myself to it. It's like, it's happening just because somebody told you it can't happen. And it eventually does, but being buyer heavy does take you away, I found, from lead generating for listings and for seller business. And so I do have to stop doing that at some point. And so that's why the showing assistant, getting that person as quickly as possible, I think is going to be a huge benefit to my business, because I do see that there is a certain number that I can get to on my own where I just feel crazy. And I know some agents can do a higher number on their own, but for me, because of all the things that I do and how detail oriented I can be about certain things, I can only get to a certain number. And so I think to break that ceiling, it is going to be that leverage. But right now I'm very buyer heavy. And what that has been like is some people just, if they're not motivated and they're not ready and understanding, then I allow them to let me know when you're ready. And then people that are reaching out, actually watching their search and, being that partner in their process, then they win, they get homes. And everyone else, it's been difficult to reach out. If I haven't heard from you in a little bit, it's been a little hard to follow up with the volume of people. So that's a blessing. And I don't want to say a curse, but it's a blessing and a problem sometimes.
Yeah. Working buyers right now. Whew, it's tough.
I guess I have been working out. I said I haven't. I have been working out because that is a workout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley just asked, I love the partner in the process line. Do you use that in your buyer consultation?
I don't, and I should. It's in my head and I absolutely should. My buyer consultations have actually looked a little different now that, we are in the pandemic. I'm not bringing people to my office anymore. Their first consultation, they get a freebie house, and that's where we have our whole talk. essentially. They get to see the house, we can pick it apart, and then we can have that whole talk. And then after that, if you're not pre-approved, it's not happening. That's another tip that I would say to anyone that is taking anyone out. Do not do that, because I have had buyers to come to me and they get pre-approved and they sign agency agreements and they go, yeah, so-and-so showed me about 14 houses. And then they come to me and it's like, oh, I feel bad for so-and-so, but okay, sign here, press hard.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I can't do that. So,
Right.
and I never did that early on. And so I think as a new agent, setting yourself up that way will help you moving forward.
Love that. So I guess one thing I was thinking about is with all the buyers, I feel like, even I'm very buyer heavy too. So like sometimes I feel like maybe I know last year I lost business from lack of follow up, and it's kind of the same thing. If you're not messaging me and like you said, a partner in the process, you may have not heard from me because I'm working with the people that are actually like, hey, can we go see this tomorrow? You know, all of that. So that's something too, like, which is, you know, I've just learned to be okay that I don't have to work with everybody, and I don't want to work with everybody also.
Right. I saw a meme that said, you know, you can't be upset if everyone doesn't like you. You don't even like everybody. So, you know, I have to trust. If I'm going to have faith in one thing, I have to have faith in all things, that the people that I'm supposed to touch, it will all shake out to where I will work with them. And I will admit, in the beginning, that was hard. It's like, oh, I lost that and I lost that. You don't lose anything that's for you. I think you can't truly lose something that was meant for you.
I love that. Just curious, I know you mentioned, I think, well, Divorce wants to ask a question too, I think. But I was curious, I don't even know how this works. It says he raised his hand. Do you still have a coach now, or?
So I had to get rid of that coach because he wasn't speaking my love language. And then I got another coach, and then he was good. And then I stopped last August because I was doing some personal stuff, you know, for family. And I do intend to pick up another coach, and I'm up in the air of whether I wanted to go with MAPS or Adam's coaching, Hergenrother's coaching. And so I do see the benefit in having a coach. Right now I feel that I have so many balls in the air that it's been difficult to focus on that part when I have all these other things I'm working on getting in order. So I think when I have that leverage, I will feel settled enough to where I can pick coaching back up, because I definitely see the benefit.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask Divorce to unmute because I think he raised his hand.
I did. How you doing, Erika?
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. So I'm a realtor and an investor as well. And I know from experience, sometimes it can be a little challenging balancing both. Mm-hmm. Do you focus on one over the other, or is it an equal focus for you? And if so, how do you balance the two?
Okay. Luckily, my husband handles most of the investment side of it. And I do the paperwork. And I teach him and I show him. And so I'm able to focus solely on, we have luster properties, and then we have bailed properties. And so he's able to run with that, and I'm able to do the other side. And so for me, that is a benefit. I would say if I had to do both, one would definitely fall by the wayside, because the amount of follow-up that he does and the things that he does, I would not be able to focus on both. And so I would naturally say that investment will probably fall off, and then I would focus on the residential side if I had to do both of them. So it is pretty tough, I think, just decide what your criteria is, and maybe just take one at a time instead of every opportunity, because then you'll feel like, I missed that, or you'll have that, torn feeling and keep you up at night that you should have been doing this or you should have done that. So if you're doing residential sales, pick which one is going to be the focus, and then the other one, just be okay with one at a time until you get some leverage.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
Hope that helps. I'm sorry.
It does, but it's hard for me to focus on just one, but that makes sense.
Javoris, you guys have a staging company or something too, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so you've got your hand in a lot of different businesses. You're hustling.
Yeah.
So it sounds like leverage, because you can't be everything. You cannot be everything.
Right.
I don't know if there's enough hours in the day, especially if you work with buyers. If you're driving, that takes time out of the day.
Yes.
Yeah. So something is going to have to either be leveraged or fall off. And you decide which one you can live with better. And it seems like, I would say invest the money in the leverage even before it feels like, some people look at the money and they're like, how am I going to pay for this person? If you get the right person, they will pay for themselves, because you'll be able to go out and make more money. I was okay with getting someone to clean my house, because either I'm going to be out making money because my dollar per hour is more, or I'm going to be a housekeeper. Which one makes me more money? And so I think there, if you just close your eyes, because I'm very cheap, just close your eyes, just do it. And you'll see that you'll start freeing up yourself. You're going to start feeling better. And the better you feel, the more people you can talk to. And so just get leverage with different places that you have to be. And little things, you shouldn't have to go to a house and drop anything off.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I recently started a team, and my wife has come on full time. So she's been a tremendous help in, getting me organized and running around with my buyers. So.
Oh, well, that's perfect. That'll be like you. My husband is Brennan. So that'll be like, she can do one and you can do the other.
Exactly. Yeah. But thank you. Appreciate it.
I was trying to get Javoris to join KWYP, and then he told me he was too old. I was like, no way.
Yeah, Rebecca, you discriminating.
I know.
I'm older folks.
Isn't that me? It's KWRI. But let's see. I was gonna say something. I was like, I guess I need to find me a husband that can do I need somebody to do stuff for me.
So before I had the husband, I'll tell you what I did. I just found something that did not need work, and I flipped it in my early 20s. So do that. Find things that don't need much work, and do it the easy way until you can step your game up.
Oh, love it. I know Kate had a question, but she was off camera for a second, so I don't know if she is ready or not. Anyone else have a question? Remember, you can unmute, jump right in.
I do. And let me know if you can hear me well, because I just switched to my computer.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to ask, knowing what you know now, because I come from a similar situation where it took me 10 months to get my first closing, just from having a super small sphere, coming from a super small town. And knowing what you know now, though, because I feel like some part of real estate is just going to take a while, no matter how hard you work. But knowing what you know now, do you think you could go back and shorten that 8 months and get a closing faster than 8 months knowing what you know?
Absolutely. Because I don't intend, and I don't know what the plan is. I don't intend to stay in North Carolina forever. We may be moving to another state, and do I think I could pick up what I know now and go to somewhere else where I know no one? Absolutely. I think it was just a learning curve. I was a new agent on top of a new city. So if I was an experienced agent in a new city, I think the situation would have been very different.
Right. So what would you have done differently?
I think I had to learn. That's where the time came from. And if I knew what I know now, then I'll just take and do the same thing that I'm doing now, just talking to, my sphere, and then it'll look like I'll have referral business because I'm picking up people, I'm going to a different place and sending out referrals, and then just running my mouth. And so I know all the things and what my groove is now. I did not know that before. I was just doing everything because I was figuring out what that was. And so now with my sphere of influence, talking to them, if I'm a part of a gym, a part of my sorority, the grocery store, the gas station, everywhere that you go and every person that you know, just doing that, then I think it would be much more easy to do it the next time, just because I'm not new. I'm not learning real estate at the same time of learning what works for me.
Right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that helps.
It does.
Real estate school teaches you how to pass a test. That's about it. You think they like give you a client, you think they teach you how to sell a house. No.
I have a quick question. And I had a phone call, so I hope this wasn't asked, but you said everything is pretty much referrals or past clients. How do you stay in touch with them? Are you doing any client events or just talking to them regularly?
I should, and I am not because of time. And I know, and that sounds like an excuse, but I intend to. The way that I stay in touch with my people is I make it a point to do a really good job when I work with them. And honestly, when some people call me back, I'm like, whew, glad that worked out, because I haven't talked to you in a long time. Or on social media, I'll still stay connected with people so that they see that I see them. And, I think people work with people that they like. And if you do a good job and you teach them something, being an investor has helped, because I can look at a house and teach people things other than this house is beautiful. I can teach them things about what to look for in a property. And, I went to all of my inspections as a new agent just to learn about septics, about pest inspections, and all these fun facts about things so that I could teach people. And so I think if you leave that good enough impression on them, I think that's what's made people call me back, even if I haven't done the best job of calling them. I'll still text them. I send birthday cards. I send Mother's Day, Father's Day. So those types of things, but it's not the quarterly calls that I should be doing.
How are you collecting their birthdays or date, things like that?
Yeah.
Just an informational sheet?
Yeah, at the initial contact, Facebook tells you a lot. It's like you can be a level 10 stalker from Facebook. It will tell you, even if they don't list their birthday, you could still find out a birthday, and then if you just absolutely can't, that happens, then you text them and say, hey, I'm doing something new this year. I want to make sure that I celebrate you. When's your birthday? You don't have to tell me the year. So you can make it light and let them know I want to acknowledge you. And I realized how did I not get your birthday? You can joke around because you have that relationship. And yeah, I see Rebecca said the same thing. I have a Google form now. Before I didn't, but at the buyer consultation, I do have getting to know you. And so it's like their favorite sweet treat, their favorite holiday. So I had one client, the Day of the Dead was their favorite holiday. And so I sent them a card, and who else is sending you a card on like a random holiday, so those types of things stick with people. But I think a Google sheet at the first point of contact before it gets weird, how you meet someone, you talk to them like 6 times and you're like, I don't remember their name now. It's weird to ask. So send it at the beginning before, it feels uncomfortable to ask.
Who else has questions? We've got about 15 minutes left if anyone else has questions. The one that I love to ask, so you've been in this 4 years, this is wrapping up your 4th year, leading into your 5th. What would you say that your biggest fail forward has been over these last 4 years?
Ooh. Overcommitting.
Okay.
Overcommitting because it makes me feel terrible and stays with me when I underdeliver. So I overcommit myself, and I had a past manager in a different role to tell me, I was telling him, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so stressed out, I have all these things, and they come in the meeting with me, and we get out, and he said, okay, did you see what you did? And I said, no, what did I do? He said, you volunteered to do something that they didn't even ask you to do. And I said, you know what, I did. And I just take on things because that's my acts of service is my love language. And so I have the best intentions for people. I want to do all those things, but I do overcommit to things that I should either leverage or just not even volunteer to do when no one asked you to do it? So I think that was definitely the thing. And then also I would say, before you feel, because you're always going to have the imposter syndrome probably, before you feel that it is time to have leverage, go ahead and start getting ready for the leverage, because what's going to happen is you're going to be really busy, and that process is very long, and you want to be very careful with how you do that. And so don't do that from a state of busy, and then don't set your business up after you start making money. Set yourself up as a business before you start making money, and then you don't have to separate these cards and your accounts and get somebody, a bookkeeper, and you have to pay them extra because now they have to separate things. Go ahead, set yourself up as a business from the beginning. No money is actually better. Starting from zero is better than starting from a lot, because there's less to pick through.
Less mess.
Yeah, less mess. Get your leverage sooner than you think. Close your eyes, spend the money, and do what you can, and what you can't, you can't.
Scott Patrick, do you have a question? So your face pop on here.
Yeah, what's up, everyone? I've been listening. Sorry, the kids are crazy and we're moving, and so you didn't want me on video or audio until just now. But yeah, my wife just took them to go do a kid drop off thing. So I've been listening to a lot. I got a lot of awesome content. One thing that I'm struggling with right now is my social media. And early on, I separated my social media, business and personal, and I'm thinking about maybe doing some sort of combination. So would love to hear your thoughts on your approach towards social media. And I know we've had a lot of great content this week with social media around KWYP. So I unfortunately wasn't able to make that. But yeah, Erica, I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, so what I did was I decided to make my social, I put them together. So instead of creating a new business one that was zero, I just wanted to build on what I already had, because that was a network of people that I still wanted to see my things. And I know that even all your Facebook followers aren't on Instagram. So I wanted to merge those two. So I have a little bit of business, a little bit of personal, because my business is so relationship based. I wanted people to see, they work with me, I think, because of who I am. So some of my personal things, they get to see it and comment, because I'm going to comment on their personal things. So I chose to put them together. I've been probably saturating a little bit too much with business and not enough personal, because I haven't had any personal things going on, really. So I think putting them together, and where I've seen the most success is being consistent. I used to get very busy, not take a picture or a video of what I was doing, but you can schedule out your social media. And Becca, you do a great job of every day. I know your video, you're going to tell us what you got going on. And I love that. And I think people start to, get used to seeing you, and they feel like they know you. And so I would recommend putting them together, because you can just build on the number that you have, and just mixing a little business and personal, if you're okay with what you put as personal. I don't put things that are too personal that I wouldn't want business to see. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always awesome to hear how people approach stuff like that. It's great.
And post at least once a day. Schedule it out, post once a day. I started to see a lot of contact and business coming from social media once you do that. And I think it may have something to do with algorithms that I know nothing about, but it started happening. So be consistent with the posts.
And that is hard when you get busy, It's like, again, it's like there's just not enough hours in the day sometimes, I feel like. But.
And like you said with your camera, some days you don't want to see me and what I look like. But I'm getting the work done, but it doesn't always look cute.
Hey, I don't even have any hair to take care of or any makeup to do, and I still don't want to be on camera either. So I can't imagine y'all who have to do more. So props to you guys. I've got another question, unless someone else wanted to pop in. You might have addressed this. I apologize if I missed it. But what does time blocking look like for you? Do you implement it, and how do you? Because that's something else I need to be better at.
That is also something that I am growing in as well, is I have the most beautiful color-coded time block. And then if something goes over, it just kind of seeps over. So what I've done is I even give myself that buffer time for something to go over. And I usually take out lunch, which is not good. And I think that comes from not having the leverage. So it's like, what can go away? Okay, lunch, eating. So that's not good. But I mean, telling your people up front, I think, is going to be the best thing. It's like, hey, when I'm with you, I'm only with you. I'm not on my phone. I don't message. I don't call. And so if I'm not with you, then I'm with someone else, and putting your do not disturb, and it has an automatic message that tells people I'm in an appointment or I'm doing this, and that kind of cuts people off from you. And your voice message, if it's, tell if they reach out on the phone, it tells them what you're doing. I think people just want to know what's going on. And if they can't hear from you for some odd reason, they think they're being ignored, like magically you're not working because you're not with them. But that's a way to protect. I think protecting the time block is the biggest challenge, not doing it. You can definitely put it on the calendar. Protecting it is the challenge.
Yeah, for sure. That's helpful to hear too. So thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Loris, go ahead.
So to circle back around to I can't even talk. Social media. People probably think I love social media, but I really don't. But I know it's important to have a presence. What would you say to the agents that won't embrace social media?
This is what I'll say is I won't tell somebody that something doesn't work. If you don't do it this way, then it's not going to work, because I was told that if you're not pounding the phones, you're not going to have any business and you're delusional. Well, I'm not. And that's not what I do. So if it's not something you're going to consistently do, don't take the time to do it. I have had agents to say, I do need to just start posting a little bit more. That's just going to be one more thing on your plate. If you don't enjoy it and you're not going to do it, then don't do it. It's just going to take up time. So if you don't embrace social media, have some type of way that you can reach those clients that reach out to you on social media. I did have someone very upset with me that, I didn't respond to a DM. And so I didn't see it, because there's personal, there's business, and, I have this phone number, this nice phone number, this nice email. No one called it or emailed it, they DM. And so if people reach out to you, just have some type of filter to where you can still catch things, but don't add one more thing to your plate if you're not going to do it. Things don't work that you're not going to do.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's to add on to that, there's an agent who I've just been blown away with on Clubhouse. He's out in Silicon Valley, and he has basically no social media presence. And this past year, he did 600 million in volume. His personal commission income was 6 million, his gross, and his team also netted 6 million, or gross 6 million. And he has no Instagram, and he's a door knocking open house is what he does. And he doesn't love it, but it's what works, and it's like what works most effectively. And so he made an Instagram just for Clubhouse, and it's like, my goal is to get to 1,000 followers without ever having posted a single photo. And so he always jokes about that. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, there are ways to do, but like you said, Eric, I love that. There's not anything that doesn't completely work. If you work it, it's gonna work.
If it's your thing, you find your groove and you sit in it, and there's going to be something else that sounds cool, or something else somebody else is successful at, and you're going to feel like you need to do it. It's like, I can give you the recipe, but if you don't have my sauce, you can't make the dish, So it's your sauce, and that's that.
I love that. I mean, that's one thing I like to tell people. Everything works, right?
Yeah, right.
Door knocking works, networking, social media, cold calling, FISBOs, expireds, open houses, like everything works, but you can't do everything well. And like you said, like, what are you going to do, and what are you going to do consistently? And just, take something you're already decent at and bring it up to like a 9 or a 10, versus something you hate or you don't like, and you maybe are naturally a 2 or at, you might bring it up to a 5 or a 6,
Absolutely. That is a good point. And, I had another agent to reach out and talk about well, what do I need to do? And I don't know what to do. I said, well, where did all your business come from last year? Well, my sphere of influence. I said, well, do you send them birthday cards? Do you love on them? Do they have things do you give them things for no reason? Do you talk to these people? No, because that is, don't get wrapped into being transactional. Even if, you do pound the phones and you're a door knocker, you worked hard for that business. Milk that for everything that it'll be for, because it's harder to get a new person. It is easier to have someone that you've worked with, a personal referral from someone else. You worked hard already, then ride that.
That's right. I love that. Yeah, I'm like, and again, we're very like relationship based, but some people are the cold internet leads or whatever, and that's where but I'm the same way. Like, to me, I'm like, you're my client for life. Like, you're stuck with me. You're gonna hear from me. We're gonna, hopefully, that's the thing is like, I don't think of it as one transaction. I think of like, okay, in a few years, they're gonna turn around and sell and then buy another house with me. Yeah. So, especially a lot of first time home buyers right now. And yeah, my price point is low, like it is, and I'm busting my ass for them right now to get them a house. But I'm hoping like they're gonna remember that when it's time to sell and buy something else.
Absolutely, and that's the good thing that I think about with the buyer heavy business. It's like, well, one day that's going to turn around.
That's right.
Because they're gonna have to sell. They're gonna sell it.
All right, does anybody have any last minute questions for Erika? We got just a couple minutes. I want to be respectful of her time and yours. So does anybody have a question for her? All right. Erika, what's your final piece of advice that you would leave everybody with? New agent, seasoned agent, whatever it might be. What's your best piece of advice?
I would say my best piece of advice is learn and soak up everything that you can. Even if it's someone that you don't feel like you could talk to because of whatever reason we tell ourselves in our head, if it's something you want to know, go after it. Ask until someone tells you and gives you the answer. Learn everything that you can, because once you've learned it, no one can take that from you. And that's where you build upon what you know. So do all of those things. Don't let the negative energy or talk stick with you, because that could stop you. This is going to be scary. If that just like once people feel that, they're like, okay, I should stop because it shouldn't feel like that. No, it's going to be scary. Anything you care about or that is important to you is going to give you some sort of nerves, and then you're just going to raise what it takes to get you nervous, because your first buyer consultation made you nervous. Now it doesn't. Your first listing appointment made you nervous. Now it doesn't. And it's something else that it takes to make you nervous. So push through that fear that is holding you, that is trying to hold you back. Don't let that happen. And work the business you have. Even if you're a cold caller, that is hard. Like, I'm not going to do it unless I need to. So that was hard. Work that person after that. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. Even if that's not your thing, then refer them somewhere. It's still, if you want to be in this business. And then lastly, I would say it's you against you. Once you put your eyes on someone else, that slows you down, and you're going to trip over the thing that's in front of you because you're looking around. Okay, keep your eye ahead of you, and just have what you did previously as your target, and only be against yourself.
Love that. Erika, thank you so much for coming on here this morning and just being open and vulnerable and sharing your story. There was a lot of really cool things in here, and I had a lot of those kind of aha moments of just like, oh, that's a one-liner, that's a one-liner. So I love your, like, Becca said earlier, just your energy and that sort of thing. It's fun to watch you light up as you talk about this. And so we appreciate you coming on and sharing. If people want to get in touch with you, if they have questions, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so my email is my name, Erika Luster, ERIKA. I say Luster like shine, LUSTER @ KW.com. My phone number is 561-9220. And you can follow me on Instagram at Erika_Luster_realtor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erica, and everybody else. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Thanks, Megan, and everybody. Becca, who put this on. See y'all.
Y'all have a great day.
Bye.